to Heritage Ways. Welcome to Project 54, Episode 13. This week, y'all, we are in Classic Casseroles Week. Each week in Project 54, we have a theme. There are so many kinds of casseroles. Today, we're doing sausage and rice casserole. Now, you can find this in my cookbook, but I'm not exactly going to go by my cookbook today. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that recipe at all, but I'm going to just do one or two things differently than or what's in my cookbook, but basically it's the same. So if you have my cookbook, then you can follow along with the ingredients list. So welcome to Project 54, Episode 13, Sausage and Rice Casserole. I'd like to thank 3 of our patrons today. There are lots of folks over on Patreon who support us, walk beside us, walk life with us, support our ministry of honoring home, celebrating heritage, and spreading hope. And today, it's because of 3 of our patrons or their families that we can bring this video to you. And that is Life with a Tableful, our friends in Texas, Rachel, another friend in Texas, and Amy P., another friend in Texas. Oh my word, Texas is really showing up to support Heritage Ways. We love you, Texas. We love you all. Thank you for being here. All right, sausage and rice casserole. Let's go ahead and put a pound of sausage in our cast iron skillet, and we're going to brown that with medium bell pepper and a medium onion. Now, I will say that I have 1 cup of each. I have a cup of the Vidalia. I measured it for you so you know how much I would have. And then a cup of the peppers, and I use red and green bell peppers. The original recipe calls for just a medium of each, but sometimes people say, well, I want a measurement. So I use a cup of each. That's what I'm using today. Also, you may use a half to 1 cup of chopped celery, but I don't have any today. Our family is not a fan of celery, so I don't keep it, and I forgot to buy any for this recipe, but you can add that yourself if you like it. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to brown the sausage with our peppers and onions. Then I have 1 cup of uncooked rice. This happens to be basmati rice, and all the basmati rice packages say to rinse the rice, and so I'm going to rinse the rice in a couple of rinses with water, and then it'll be ready to go. We are not going to cook the rice before we bake the casserole. So that's good. 1 less step. I'm actually using a farm fresh sausage. You can use, if you like one that's hotter or mild or whatever you like. And if your family doesn't eat pork, then certainly you can use whatever kind of meat you have, whether it's venison or turkey or chicken or beef or even elk or bear or whatever it is you like. And I say that because we do have friends who live all over the world and they eat all of those. I'm gonna go ahead and just put the peppers and onions right in there with the meat, mash it all up together and get it browned. And the onions will be translucent, the vegetables will be cooked well when I'm done.
When you hear that guests are coming, you might be faced with a dilemma of whether to dust the house or make a cake. I suggest bake the cake.
You can put this in whatever dish makes you happy. You can even probably cook it in cast iron, which I think is not a bad idea either. I have sprayed a 3-quart Corningware with some cooking spray and set that over here, and let's assemble the rest of our casserole. All right, as a nod to my Texas friends, I pulled out this Texas ware bowl, this vintage bowl of mine that I love. I've got my 1 cup of rinsed basmati rice. You can use whatever white rice, you want to. I'm going to add my sausage and peppers and onions. Now, you notice if you want to spoon out any excess grease, you can. I happen to know this was pastured, healthy, humanely raised, all those wonderful things, pork. So that tells me that the grease is actually beneficial if you follow a nourishing traditions diet and something like that. But as I've said before, feel free to follow your own dietary opinions. A cup and a half of shredded cheddar cheese. Put it right in there. A can of cream of chicken soup. 1 can of cream of mushroom soup. If you don't want mushrooms in this, which it's just a small amount, but if you don't, you can use maybe 2 cream of chickens. And you most certainly can make your own cream of soups if you want to do that. All right, we're just going to mix all this up, and we are going to put it in the oven. Remember, the rice is uncooked. We're going to put it in the oven for an hour and 30 minutes on 350. So a little bit longer than your typical casserole. I want to tell you what I did after the midway mark, I guess probably 45 minutes. I took the casserole out. I stirred it with a spatula, and basically what I did is I just I didn't stir it up like this. I kind of just took my rubber spatula and kind of folded it in, just because you want to make sure that rice is cooked. This is really probably not something that I would just go off and leave for the whole hour and 30 minutes. But, oh wow, I'll show it to you in a minute. That looks delicious. So I took it out at about the 45-minute mark, kind of stirred it or kind of folded it in on itself. Then what we need to do for the last 7 to 10 minutes is I'm just going to sprinkle it with saltine cracker crumbs, probably 1/4 a cup to 1/2 a cup of them. I'm actually not going to put butter because that sausage produced grease. If you wanted to put butter, you could. I'm leaving the top off. Now, that's one thing I did do the whole time, is I cooked it with the top on the whole time. All right, I'm just going to bake this with the cracker crumbs on it for, I don't know, about 7 or 8 minutes. For a total of about an hour and 37 or so minutes. I hope you can see that the cracker crumbs absorbed some of the sausage grease, so we didn't need to have buttered cracker crumbs. Well, let's try it out. You know, when I make a casserole like this, if there's some like very well done parts, or some people would call it burned parts, that's my preference. Look at that. You know, one good thing about casseroles, a lot of them are good left over the next day. A lot of them are easy to half or double or triple. A lot of them you can adjust the ingredients. You can leave out an ingredient or add one. Let's try this sausage and rice casserole. Another thing you can do, and I believe this is in my cookbook, you can add a jar of pimento peppers. That is really, really good. It really is good. I want to remind you that I left my lid on my casserole dish. You can cover it with foil if your dish doesn't have a lid. I think that makes a difference. Also, I stirred it or folded it in on itself. I didn't get in there and stir it around, but I folded it in on itself and kind of lightly stirred it, if you will, about halfway through. Those two things I think are vital. And I feel like if you don't do those two things, you may have a mess, because the rice on top won't get the moisture that it needs if you don't stir it. Other than that, this is very good, y'all. I'll see you tomorrow.